In the 17 and 1800s, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people left the countries of Europe, came across the ocean to America, and made America their new home. And this is a story, Voyage Across the Sea, about Richard, 12, Elizabeth, 16, and their mother meeting in Liverpool, England. Their father had gone to America early to set up the house. Elizabeth remembers coming to Liverpool. The streets were crowded. There were carriages. There were wagons. There were supplies. There was livestock. There were different accents filling the air, the aromas of all that livestock. Elizabeth remembers going to the ship that they were assigned, and there was a plank between the deck of the ship and the dock. And the ship wobbled in the water, and it caused the plank to wobble. And it was kind of scary to walk across the plank to the deck of the ship. She was worried that she would fall off and get crushed between the dock and the ship and get crunched. She made it across. When she looked at the deck of this humongous ship, there was a huge pile of luggage. All the passengers' luggage was in a huge pile in the middle of the deck. And then lining the deck were different fenced-in areas and even of livestock and a chicken coop. And they had that livestock on the deck of the ship. She went to the door that led to the bottom deck. She went down a steep steps, slowly down the steps. Before her was a humongous room that reached the length of the ship. And in the length of the ship, on the right side, was 300 beds. On the left side of the ship was another 300 beds. And then there was a table, chairs, stove. Table, chairs, stove that lined the middle of the room. This is where the passengers would eat and sleep. As the ship gradually left the port, the first couple of days, it was turbulent, and a lot of people stayed to the beds because they got seasick. But after a couple of days, most of the people could go back upstairs, enjoy the sunshine, the fresh air, and some of the people had to stay down on their beds, seasick, for 6 weeks that it took to go from Europe to America. Richard loved being a kid traveling on a ship across the ocean. There is no better place for hide and seek than on a ship. All the nooks and crannies that you can hide on a ship, you can never be found sometimes. And they got to learn that ship pretty quickly. Now, some of the sailors had a wicked sense of humor, and they would give the kids charcoal sticks. That would be from the fire and partially burnt sticks that would have charcoal on them. And the sailors told the kids, while your parents are sleeping, paint cat whiskers on the cheeks of your parents. Now, do your own cheeks too, and they'll never know who did it. Kids love that. The other thing that Richard enjoyed was a lot of kids had the daring to climb the sails. Everybody grab a sail, another sail, and they gradually climbed higher and higher up the sails. And of course, the ship is bobbing in the water, and the posts are high, the sails are high, and the sailors would catch the kids in the weaves, in the folds of the sails, and enclose them and capture them in the sails as a joke. Richard did not want to get caught, so he climbed higher above the sailors, and he was at the top of the sails, the last board at the top of the sails, and he knew, if I go down, they're going to catch me. But he sees a rope hanging from one side of the sails that reaches near the deck. He grabs that and circles his arms and legs around that rope. Slide, 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 kaplunk. He then goes ahead, lets go of the rope, and lands on the deck. His entire body is covered with tar. They covered tar over the ropes to protect the ropes from the weather. Richard loved going across the ocean. Elizabeth remembers that sometimes if someone died on the ship, they would wrap the body in burlap, put the body on a board on the side of the ship, have the funeral. Then the sailors would tip the body would go into the ocean, and fishes, porpoises, and sharks used to follow the boat for a little din-din. And sometimes we might know what some of that din-din was. Elizabeth also remembers that one time there was a fire on the ship. Okay, the ship is made of wood. There's a fire. If the ship burns up, they're going to be in the middle of the ocean with no ship. The sailors were frantically pumping the pumps, getting water into that fire, and finally doused the fire. Finally, they arrived to America. The Statue of Liberty is their welcome beacon. And they process through Ellis Island, and as they wait for their father to come and pick them up, Mom purchases the strangest looking apple. It's really soft, and there's all kinds of seeds inside that apple. She cuts it up, it's juice everywhere. They eat it. It is the strangest apple. Only later they realized it was a tomato. And that is the story of Voyage Across the Sea. Thank you.